Rejoice, my brothers and sisters in strife, for Brixel complained and the Guild Wars gods answered. Not 2 weeks after releasing my video on what I believe are the biggest issues facing Guild Wars 2, ArenaNet dropped this chunky info behemoth, which manages to address almost all the concerns I raised in that video. And there is nothing you can say to convince me that they didn't make this post in direct response to me. So let's dive into this bad boy. It goes into a lot of detail about the future of the game as well as ArenaNet as a studio. I won't be covering everything, like the world versus world changes for example, so I'll leave a link to the full post in the description. Now, what I do want to talk about is how this post pretty much addresses all the concerns that I raised in my Guild Wars 2 new player experience video. But before I do that, make sure that subscribe button is grayed out, and if you're feeling especially generous with your clicks, ding the thing. The post starts out thanking players for the reception of End of Dragons. Thank you for making End of Dragons. And seriously, that is an earnest thank you. Creating an expansion this big in these circumstances can't have been easy. The post goes on to say loudly and emphatically that Guild Wars 2 has a bright future ahead of it. And would you look at that? Direct, unambiguous communication from ArenaNet. Right off the bat, this post feels like an effort to address the concerns the player base has had about bad communication in the past. And if this is the level of communication we can expect going forward, that's a-okay with me. Now, let's just get better at marketing the game, yeah? The post continues saying they're working on long-term goals such as DirectX 11 implementation, the Legendary Armory, and World vs. World restructuring. All great features, but now we start getting into the stuff that really interests me. The resolution of a story arc that was 10 years in the making feels like a fitting time to reevaluate the overall Guild Wars 2 experience. And just to reiterate what I said in my previous video on the topic, it tends to be taken for granted that the Guild Wars 2 experience starts at level 1. And like I said in that video, the new player experience for Guild Wars 2 really just isn't very good right now. In that video, I chalked the game's poor start down to two main things: level gating and the living world. Now, there's no direct mention of level gating or a restructuring of the personal story in this post, but what ArenaNet does say is that they're cleaning up some aspects of the early game experience. I'm sure that there's a lot of things that they need to address, but I sincerely hope that a more streamlined personal story is high on that priority list. Now, regarding my second issue, the living world. Damn, it really does feel like ArenaNet are straight up flexing on me. It's sort of like they're saying, oh yeah, Brixel, you want us to integrate the missing living world chapters into the personal story? Why don't we do you one better? The Living World Season 1 is coming back. It's crazy how many current players never got to see that content, and dear lord is it gratifying to see the studio finally doing something with all that lost story. So good on you, ArenaNet. I applaud your efforts to undo what was a really rough misstep. Now, if they hadn't flexed in my face enough already, it gets better. The Living World Season 1 is going to be free to all players, including the free-to-play crowd. Forever. Thank you. This is the onboarding experience that Guild Wars 2 needs. Do you hear that, Kevin? Your struggles weren't in vain. Would you like to share a few words with us on this momentous occasion? Powerful stuff, Kevin. Now, yes, I know this doesn't bring Guild Wars 2's new player experience up to the level of the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV's free trial, which includes the entirety of A Realm Reborn and the Heavensward expansion up to level 60 with no restrictions on playtime. But for a game without a monthly sub, this is incredibly generous, and it almost feels like an apology to fans for this content being missing for so long. Your move, Bungie. Getting back to the post, it goes on to explain that they'll be combining key story moments and experiences of Living World Season 1 into 5 episodes that will be released throughout 2022. They continue by saying that the goal is to provide a cohesive bridge between the personal story and Living World Season 2, and give players an opportunity to earn the legacy achievements and rewards that have been unavailable for all these years. The first episode, Flame and Frost, will release April 19th. The season will conclude with the return of Battle for Lion's Arch, which will include a strike mission and challenge mode. So, this is dropping soon, and yeah, it's not coming to us in the same form as the original release of Season 1, but frankly, how the hell else was this content ever going to get back into the game short of a major restructuring? And an added strike mission. Nice. Now, all these changes are being made in preparation for a Steam release, with ANET saying you only get to launch on Steam once, and we want to make sure we do it right. We're not ready to commit to a hard date for Steam quite yet, but our hearts are set on launching this year. Yeah, I know the "it'll be ready when it's ready" kind of communication is a bit frustrating, but also kinda reassuring. Let's be honest, "it'll be ready when it's ready" doesn't exactly have the best connotations right now. But I'm gonna trust that ANET actually mean what they say. The Steam release is going to trigger a massive influx of new players, so making sure all these changes are in place before the release is vital to making sure that these new players have the best possible first impression. Godspeed, ANET. May this new road you walk be free of bugs and server issues. Now, the rest of the post goes over things like updates to professions and World vs. World, and I hope all this is going to be expanded on in later posts, but they saved the best news for last. We're happy to confirm that there will be a 4th expansion for Guild Wars 2. This is a very early confirmation, so don't expect news anytime soon. A solid way to end the post, and yeah, it's good to know that Guild Wars 2 has a positive future ahead of it with a clear roadmap. Lastly, I'd like to appreciate that ArenaNet acknowledges how important it is that their team maintain a healthy work-life balance. I mean, if you've been paying attention to the conditions game developers have been working under, it's pretty shocking sometimes. It's important that studios and fans realize that at the end of the day, the people who make the games that we love so much are just that, people. What do you think of this announcement? Are you excited to play Season 1? Will this be your first time playing Scarlet's War, or are you going to be replaying it for the first time in 9 years? Leave a comment down below and we can talk about it. Sub if you haven't already, and go check out our other MMO content, like this one where we talk about what MMOs can learn from Elden Ring, or this video that I'm sure you'll dig. I've been Brixel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.